Hello everyone. Let's begin new topic, tinniasis. What is tinniasis? It is parasitic infection which is caused by tapeworms. There are three tapeworms which can cause tinniasis. It includes Tinea saginata or beef tapeworm, Tinea solium or pork tapeworm, and Tinea asiatica, that is Asian tapeworm. How human can become infected with these tapeworms? Human may acquire infection by eating raw or undercooked flesh of beef or of pork. Now, if humans consume raw or undercooked flesh of cattle, that is beef, there is possibility of transmission of Tinea saginata. And if they consume pork, there is possibility of transmission of Tinea solium and Tinea asiatica. This disease, that is tinniasis, it is classified as cyclozoonosis. What is meaning of cyclozoonosis? Basically, cyclozoonosis includes all those diseases where the infectious agent completes its cycle of development in more than one vertebrate hosts, and for their development non-vertebrate hosts are not required. So tinniasis, since it requires human host as well as it requires animal host like cattle and pigs, so there is involvement of more than one vertebrate host and there is no involvement of non-vertebrate host. That's why tinniasis, it is classified as cyclozoonosis. What is clinical characteristic feature of tinniasis? So tinniasis, as we said in intro, you can say it is parasitic infection which is caused either by Tinea solium, Tinea saginata or Tinea asiatica, and clinically it is characterized by asymptomatic infection or it is characterized by mild tapeworm infection, or in case of Tinea solium there can be development of human cysticercosis. Cysticercosis, it occurs only due to Tinea solium. Tinea saginata do not lead to cysticercosis, and sometimes cysticerci, they can affect brain, and when brain is affected we call it as neurocysticercosis. Neurocysticercosis, it can lead to epilepsy, and occurrence of epilepsy due to neurocysticercosis is very common. Specifically, it is seen in all those areas where this tapeworm infection is endemic. So, what is the rate of occurrence of epilepsy in Tinea solium endemic areas? In these areas, there are about 30% cases of epilepsy. They are estimated to occur due to neurocysticercosis. And remember, this is one of the preventable cause of epilepsy. So globally or throughout the world, we can prevent neurocysticercosis and if we prevent neurocysticercosis, epilepsy may get prevented automatically. So if in exam, examiner will ask you preventable cause of epilepsy, the answer should be neurocysticercosis. Where we find these tapeworm infections more commonly? What are the areas where there is prevalence of tapeworm infections? Basically, tapeworm infections, they are more prevalent in underdeveloped countries or the countries where socio-economic conditions are poor, and this further leads to poor sanitation, which mainly contributes to occurrence of tapeworm infections. In addition to this, there is one more possibility is where people have habit of consuming raw flesh or raw undercooked flesh, mainly flesh, it includes pork. So where people have habit of eating raw pork or where this pork is not appropriately cooked, possibility of tapeworm infection increases. So what are the worldwide areas or global areas where we can find common occurrence of cysticercosis or Taenia solium infection or tapeworm infections? These tapeworm infections, they are most commonly found in Latin America, in sub-Saharan Africa, in Eastern Europe, and also in Asia, and even we can get cases in India also. There are a few important considerations regarding Taenia solium infection taken by World Health Organization. And what are these considerations? So first important thing, what World Health Organization did, it was year 2010. In this year, World Health Organization added Taenia solium cysticercosis to the list of neglected tropical diseases. So WHO is having list of diseases that are neglected in tropical areas. So Taenia solium cysticercosis is included in this list by World Health Organization. Another important thing that has been identified in the year 2015 is Taenia solium cysticercosis. It is leading cause of deaths related to foodborne diseases burden. So whatever deaths occurs due to foodborne diseases, leading cause of death in these diseases is Taenia solium cysticercosis. What is the statistical data? So estimated cases, these includes symptomatic as well as asymptomatic neurocysticercosis infection. So this estimation is 2.56 million to 8.30 million. So these are near about, we can say, 8 million people, and above this level people are infected with Taenia solium, where they may show clinical manifestations of neurocysticercosis or they may not show clinical manifestation of neurocysticercosis. What are these tapeworms? Already we have talked about three names, that is Taenia saginata, Taenia solium and Taenia asiatica. In this image you can see Taenia solium. Length of Taenia solium is up to 2 meters to 6 meters. In this slide you can see image of Taenia saginata. Note its length. Its length may vary from 5 meters to 12 meters, or even it may be up to 24 meters. Taenia solium and Taenia saginata are cystodes. So as far as parasites are concerned, you have studied nematodes, trematodes and cystodes. So these parasites, they are cystodes, and it's mainly the Taenia solium eggs which are responsible for causing cysticercosis. What is teniasis? So according to World Health Organization, teniasis is infection of humans with adult tapeworm of Taenia saginata or Taenia solium. I repeat, it is infection of human with adult tapeworm of Taenia saginata or Taenia solium. Simply, it includes those individuals who are harboring adult form of Taenia saginata, where the disease condition can be called as Taenia saginata teniasis, or when the people they harbor adult form of Taenia solium. Regarding life cycle of these parasites, two parasites out of these three are important, Taenia saginata and Taenia solium. They passes their life cycle in two different hosts. So these two hosts, it includes man. Now for both, that is Taenia saginata and Taenia solium, man is a definitive host, whereas cattle, it is intermediate host for Taenia saginata, and pig, it is intermediate host for Taenia solium. So here now once again you can recall cyclozoonosis. So where we said more than one vertebrate host are required for development of infectious agent. So here infectious agents are Taenia saginata and solium. Taenia saginata requires two hosts, that is man and cattle, and Taenia solium requires two hosts, that is man and pig. Life cycle of these parasites. The eggs or the proglottids, or these are gravid proglottids which are passed with feces. So these are humans which are infected with teniasis. They will pass eggs or they will pass gravid proglottids, or these are also called as segments in feces. The eggs which are passed in the feces, they are capable of surviving in outside environment for few days or even for few months. Now what happens, how cattle and pigs they get infected? Cattle and pig, they may get infected after ingestion of vegetation contaminated with eggs or gravid proglottids. So whenever they will graze in areas where the area is contaminated with human feces and human feces containing eggs of either Taenia solium or Taenia saginata. Now these pathogens, these microorganisms, they will enter inside the body of animals. Now in the animal intestine, the eggs they hatch into oncospheres, and these oncospheres it invades intestinal wall and they migrate to the striated muscles. Now see, after ingestion of Taenia solium or Saginata from intestine, these parasites they are migrating to muscles, and in muscles they develop into cysticerci, and these cysticerci they can survive for several years in animals. How human can acquire infection? Human may get infected by ingesting raw or undercooked contaminated meat. What happens in human intestine? In human intestine, the cysticerci they develops into adult tapeworms. For this development, about 2 months are required, and once these cysticerci they develops into adult forms, these adult tapeworms they can survive for several years. These adult tapeworms they are quite long worms. Length of Taenia saginata it is about 5 to 12 meters, and sometimes its length may reach up to 24 meters. Length of Taenia solium is about 2 meters to 6 meters. So simply these are quite long tapeworms, and when these tapeworms they are in adult form, what do? They attach to the small intestine. So we are talking about adult tapeworms. These adult tapeworms they will attach to small intestine with the help of scolex, and they reside in small intestine. Now here they produce proglottids. These proglottids they become mature and become gravid. Now once proglottids become mature and gravid, they detach from the tapeworm, and these proglottids they migrate to the anus and they are passed in the stool. So stool of infected person may contain proglottids which are mature and gravid. Now how many proglottids can be excreted per day? This number is small, it is only 6. But how many numbers of proglottids can be seen in these parasites? As far as Taenia saginata is concerned, adult Taenia saginata worm it has about 1000 to 2000 proglottids. So this number is quite huge. Whereas Taenia solium adult worm it has average number of proglottids, that is 1000. So these number of proglottids which is seen in adult worms is quite huge, and now you know these gravid proglottids they contains eggs, and these proglottids they are released into the feces. Now how many eggs are produced per proglottid? You know number of proglottid. It is 1000 to 1000 for Taenia saginata and it is 1000 proglottids for Taenia solium. Now we are talking about single proglottid, how many eggs it can produce. So single proglottid of Taenia saginata may produce up to 1 lakh eggs, whereas Taenia solium may produce up to 50,000 eggs. So here we are talking egg production per proglottid. So you know the number of eggs and you know the number of proglottids also. So you can imagine the huge number of proglottids and huge number of eggs which can be released from these proglottids. How human passes these proglottids? So basically human may pass tapeworm segments or there may be presence of proglottids containing eggs in feces. Now if sanitation is poor or if development related with the socio-economic conditions is not appropriate, and if people have habit of open defecation. Now you can imagine the scenario when people they are not using latrine for defecation and when they prefer to defecate in open areas, so this can contaminate soil. And in such soil, if moist environment is present, the eggs of Taenia they can survive for several days or even for several months also. And they not only survives but they remain their infectivity also. So their infectivity is retained along with their survival. Simply these eggs they will survive as well as they are capable of producing infection. Now when cows and pigs they take feeding in the areas which are contaminated with Taenia eggs from human feces, they acquires infection. And as we said, once these parasites enters into animals, the eggs hatch and these parasites they migrates from intestine to striated muscles where it develops into cysticerci and the disease is known as cysticercosis. Here we are talking about animal cysticercosis. And characteristic feature of these parasites, they can survive or cysticerci can survive for several years in animal muscles. Human they acquire infection with tapeworm when they eat raw or undercooked beef or pork containing infective cysticerci. Once inside the humans, once they enter into the human, these cysticerci they migrate to small intestine, they mature to adult tapeworm, and as we said, there will be formation of proglottids and again release of proglottids from the feces, and the cycle is continued. Now you know life cycle of these parasites. What is mode of transmission? Same things will be repeated here. So first mode of transmission, it is ingestion of infective cysticerci in undercooked beef for Taenia saginata or pork for Taenia solium. Second mode of transmission is ingestion of water, food or vegetables contaminated with eggs of parasites. Third mode of transmission, it is very rare. It is a reinfection which occurs by transport of eggs from bowel to the stomach by retroperistalsis. So three modes. One is related with consumption of undercooked beef or pork. Second, it is ingestion of contaminated food, water or vegetables. And third, which is related with reinfection due to transport of eggs from bowel to stomach by retroperistalsis. What is incubation period for adult tapeworms? It is 8 weeks to 14 weeks. What clinical picture we can see? So as in the beginning we said, majority of people may have asymptomatic infections, or some people may have mild symptoms. So it can be asymptomatic infection. In spectrum, second part can be people having mild teniasis or mild infection. Now as far as presence of symptom is concerned and tinea saginata and solium is concerned, so which persons experience more frequently the symptoms? Symptoms are very common to occur in those individuals which are infected with tinea saginata as compared to tinea solium. The reason, it is related to the length of the adult parasite. As we know, tinea saginata maximum it can grow up to the length of 24 meters. So because it is larger in size, majority of people who are having infection with tinea saginata, they develops symptoms. Now what are the symptoms that we can commonly see in these people? Symptoms are related with GIT. It mainly includes digestive problems. There can be chronic indigestion. There can be abdominal pain, loss of appetite and weight loss. So these are very few common manifestations which we can see in case of teniasis. Is there any visible thing related to teniasis? The visible part is it is passage, as we said, proglottids or segments, they are passed in the feces. So sometimes it might be observed by patients. So the most visible symptom of teniasis is active passage of proglottids or tapeworm segments through the anus in the feces. Now there is one more possibility which is rare to occur, but it may occur. Sometimes these tapeworm segments, what we said, generally these segments they are passed through the feces, but sometimes these segments they may get lodged in different parts, like they may get lodged in appendix, they may get lodged in bile duct or in pancreatic duct. So what happens? Rare manifestation of teniasis, it can be appendicitis or it can be cholangitis or it can be pancreatitis. So depending upon the part where these segments have become lodged, so accordingly manifestations we can get. This is rare to occur, but possibility is there. What happens in infection with tinea solium tapeworm? Infection with tinea solium tapeworm, it leads to human cysticercosis. It is serious disease, and one part of seriousness in the introduction we have mentioned that it can cause epilepsy or it can cause seizure. Rather, it is one of the most important cause of seizures in areas where tinea solium infection is endemic. At the same time, it can cause damage to the muscles or it can cause damage to eye or eyes. As we said, tinea solium causes human cysticercosis. What about tinea saginata and tinea asiatica? Can they cause human cysticercosis, or can they cause cysticercosis in humans? Tinea sacchinata does not cause cysticercosis in humans. And about Tinea asiatica, whether it causes cysticercosis in human or not, it is not yet clear. So right now we can say only one pathogen which is related with cysticercosis, that is Taenia solium. Now in human cysticercosis, there are two terms which are used by K-Park. One is heteroinfection, and second term used is autoinfection. What is meaning of heteroinfection? Heteroinfection is humans which acquire cysticercosis when they swallow or they ingest or they consume Taenia solium eggs that are passed in the feces of those humans which are suffering from Taenia solium infection. Now these eggs, they spread through food, water, or the surfaces may get contaminated with feces. Now when humans swallow eggs, or when humans eat food or water contaminated with Taenia parasites, human can acquire infection. This is called as heteroinfection. So simply heteroinfection, it is concerned with either direct exposure to the fingers contaminated with eggs of Taenia solium, or indirectly consumption of food which is contaminated with Taenia solium, that is heteroinfection. And autoinfection, it occurs due to regurgitation of eggs from intestine, so they are again carried to stomach. Now what clinical picture we can find in human cysticercosis? Taenia solium eggs, they lead to cysticercosis, and even it can cause serious condition that is called as neurocysticercosis. Cysticercosis, it is mainly caused by larval cysts of the Taenia solium. So which life form of these parasite is responsible for causing cysticercosis? It is larval cysts, and these larval cysts we can find at various places including central nervous system. So we can find these larval cysts in brain, in muscles, in eyes, or even in other tissues. And how cysticercosis is acquired? It is just because of ingestion of food which is contaminated with eggs of Taenia solium. As far as prevalence of cysticercosis is concerned, it is mainly found in Latin America, Asia, and Africa, related to poor sanitation. And as we said, this cysticercosis, it is mainly related to larval cyst, and we said these larval cysts, they are present at various sites, which includes brain, which includes muscles, which includes eyes and other tissues also. So when these larval cysts are found in brain, this condition is called as neurocysticercosis. So neurocysticercosis, the cases of neurocysticercosis, they have cysticerci or larval cyst which are present in brain. Now, as we said, these cysts can be present in muscles. So, when they are present in muscle, generally there are no specific symptoms which are produced, but sometimes patient can feel lumps, or even physician can palpate lumps, and these lumps are felt under the skin, and sometimes these lumps may become tender. Now another site we said for presence of cysticerci, or for presence of larval cysts, is eyes. This is a rare condition, but still possibility is there that these larval cysts, they may float in the eye, and it can cause blurring of vision, or it can disturb vision, and sometimes it may lead to inflammatory response, and there may be a swelling, and in severe cases there can be retinal detachment. Neurocysticercosis, it is presence of cyst in brain or in spinal cord. Now what symptoms we can see in cases with neurocysticercosis? Appearance of symptoms in case of neurocysticercosis, it depends on 2 to 3 factors. So first factor is the location where these cysts are located in the brain. Second, it is a number of cysts. So how many cysts are present? Depending on this, we can get manifestations. But headache is most common symptom related with neurocysticercosis. Some people along with headache may have confusion, may have lack of attention, or sometimes they may have ataxia, they may feel difficulty in balancing. In some cases hydrocephalus may occur, or epilepsy can occur. So what are the important points to be remembered in relation to neurocysticercosis? As these cases may develop epilepsy, they may develop intracranial hypertensive syndromes, they may develop hydrocephalus or psychiatric diseases, and even patients with neurocysticercosis may die, or death can occur. 3 important clinical manifestations. It's neurocysticercosis, skeletal or muscular cysticercosis. Please see the image carefully. And it's ocular cysticercosis. What is the commonest mode for a diagnosis of neurocysticercosis? It is mainly diagnosed on MRI and CT brain. How to control tinnitus? Now control measures, it mainly includes early diagnosis and treatment. It includes inspection of meat. It includes health education, appropriate disposal of sewage. But out of these, the most essential part in order to prevent human cysticercosis is early detection and treatment of all cases infected with Tinea solium. Now what guidelines are there for treatment of tinnitus? So these infections, they are generally treated with antiparasitic drugs, and antiparasitic drugs may be combined with anti-inflammatory drugs. So this is medical management in relation to use of drugs, but sometimes surgery may be required in certain situations in relation to cysticercosis. Specifically, surgery is used when patient won't respond to medical management. What is medical management for teniasis? The drugs that are used in the treatment, they are categorized as antihelminthic drugs, or since we are specifically here using these drugs for killing tapeworms or for killing these Taenia saginata or Solium, these are called as tenicides agents. There are three important names as far as treatment is concerned. First drug is praziquantel. Second name you should have to remember is niclosamide. And third you might be knowing, that is albendazole. Praziquantel, it has highest cure rate. When we use praziquantel for the treatment, it has 99% cure rate. It's given in a single dose. Dose of praziquantel, it is 10 mg per kg body weight, and it is very important to give this drug with food, preferably with fatty meal. The reason is fatty meal increases absorption of this drug. Another drug which is used in the treatment is niclosamide. Cure rate for niclosamide is 90%. It is also given in single dose form. 2-gram dose can be given at one time. But in contrast to praziquantel, niclosamide, it is given in empty stomach. So patient should not take food. Preferably this drug should be taken at morning, and after consumption of niclosamide, patient should not take food for at least 2 hours. So this is part of instruction when you will prescribe this medication to your patient. Even for other conditions, other helminthic infections, please remember this thing is niclosamide is given on empty stomach, whereas praziquantel, it should be taken along with food. Now, in case of Taenia solium infection, along with these antihelminthic drugs, purgatives are also given. Now, the objective of giving purgative agents to these patients is to eliminate the segments and eggs from the bowel. So, whatever tapeworm segments are there, or whatever proglottids are there, in order to eliminate that, this treatment is supported along with purgative drugs. How we can treat cysticercosis? Cysticercosis treatment, it should be individualized and it should depend upon three things. First thing is presence of viable cyst. Second thing is number of cysts, and third thing is anatomical location of these cysts. If there are parenchymal cysts, medical management is effective, but medical management, it is less effective for subarachnoid cysts or for intraventricular cysts. Now, depending on location, we should have to decide the treatment protocol. The drugs that are used in treatment of human cysticercosis, it includes albendazole, and again it is praziquantel. Now, how albendazole is given? Dose of albendazole, it is 10 mg to 15 mg per kg body weight. Albendazole, it is given in divided doses, so it should be given twice daily. Duration of treatment with albendazole, it varies depending upon the condition of patient. So it can be given for 14 days to 28 days. If a case is with intraventricular or subarachnoid cysts, the duration of treatment with albendazole is 3 months. So it's long duration. Albendazole, like praziquantel, it should be given with food and preferably with fatty meal. So regarding albendazole, you should have to understand is depending upon the number and location of these cysts, duration of treatment is variable. Praziquantel, dose of praziquantel is 50 milligram per kg per day, and praziquantel it is given in divided doses. It can be given thrice daily for human cysticercosis. We said for tinea saginata infection, the dose is single, whereas if we are treating neurocysticercosis, it's given in divided doses. Now we are having two options for treatment of neurocysticercosis patient. One drug is albendazole and other one is praziquantel. But what is the preferred drug, or what is the drug of choice? Drug of choice is albendazole. Now the reason, as we said initially, these drugs, that is antihelminthic drugs, they are combined with anti-inflammatory drugs, or they can be combined with steroids. Now when albendazole it is given simultaneously along with steroids, steroids increases absorption of albendazole. So this is beneficial for the patient. Whereas if we use praziquantel along with steroids, steroids decreases or reduces plasma level of praziquantel. So effect of drug may get reduced. So between two drugs, albendazole and praziquantel, drug of choice is albendazole. Other control measures, it includes, as we know, disease occurs due to consumption of beef or pork. So inspection of meat is very essential. Second thing we have seen that all those people who consume beef or pork which is not properly cooked or which is undercooked. So in control measures, attention should be paid to thorough cooking. So this beef or pork should be thoroughly cooked. Health education should be given to the people, and health education should focus on hand hygiene. As we said, sometimes eggs may be directly carried to mouth through contaminated fingers. So for this purpose, hand hygiene is very essential. It should focus on health education of people, where people should be educated to wash hands with soap and water, specifically after defecation. Now one more thing we have seen in transmission of this disease, when people prefer open defecation, open field defecation or open air defecation. For this purpose, it is essential to install latrine and safe latrine installation. At the same time, in order to avoid contamination of the areas with human feces where cattle and pig they take their feed, it is very essential that we should have facilities for appropriate disposal of human excreta. And long-term measures, it includes improvement in living conditions. Let's try to recall what things we discussed in this lecture. We tried to understand teniasis. Teniasis, it is parasitic infection caused by Taenia solium, Taenia saginata and Taenia asiatica. Humans acquires infection with Taenia saginata or Taenia asiatica when humans consume beef meat, and Taenia solium infection is acquired by consumption of raw or undercooked pork. Teniasis is cyclozoonosis, or it is classified as cyclozoonosis. Why it is classified as cyclozoonosis? Because these parasites, they completes their development in more than one vertebrate hosts. At the same time, they do not require invertebrate host. For Taenia saginata, man is a definitive host and cattle is intermediate host. And for Taenia solium, again man is a definitive host but intermediate host is pig. There are three modes of transmission of teniasis. First is through consumption of infective cysticerci in undercooked beef. This is for Taenia saginata, or undercooked pork. This is for Taenia solium. Second mode of transmission includes ingestion of food, vegetables, or water contaminated with the eggs. And third mode of transmission is reinfection by transport of eggs from bowel to the stomach by retroperistalsis. Remember, third mode of transmission is rare to occur. Incubation period for adult tapeworm, it varies from 8 weeks to 14 weeks. And clinically, vast majority of cases, they are asymptomatic. Few cases, they may have abdominal discomfort, anorexia, or chronic indigestion. Some patients, they may develop appendicitis or cholangitis. Taenia solium infection is cysticercosis. Human infection is caused by ingestion of eggs of Taenia solium, which are likely to be present in contaminated food or water. This way of infection, we call it as heteroinfection. And when infection occurs due to regurgitation of eggs from small intestine, this is called as autoinfection. The eggs of Taenia solium that develops into cysticerci. Cysticercosis, it can be neurocysticercosis or ocular cysticercosis or skeletal or muscular cysticercosis. The control measures includes treatment of infected persons, inspection of meat, health education of people regarding teniasis, adequate sewage treatment and adequate disposal of sewage. In addition, it is very important to detect the cases of Taenia solium as early as possible so that we can prevent human cysticercosis. For treatment, we can use praziquantel or niclosamide. For treatment of cysticercosis, we can use either praziquantel or albendazole. The drug of choice for treatment of cysticercosis is albendazole. These drugs, that is either praziquantel or albendazole, whatever drug we are using for the treatment of cysticercosis, it is essential that these drugs should be given with fatty meal. These drugs are used for medical management of the cases, but some cases may require surgical management or surgical intervention. Teniasis infection is caused by A. Trematodes, B. Cystodes, and C. Nematodes. The correct answer is B. Cystodes. So, teniasis infection is caused by cystodes. Of the following, which is not causative agent of teniasis? A. Tinea solium, B. Tinea saginata, and C. D-latum. Answer is D-latum. Teniasis is not caused by D-latum. Rather, it is caused by Tinea solium, Tinea saginata, or Tinea asiatica. Which is the definitive host for Tinea solium? Option A, man, option B, cattle, and option C, pig. The definitive host for Tinea solium is man. Next question. Definitive host for Tinea saginata is option A, pig, option B, cattle, and option C, man. Correct answer is option C, man. So the definitive host for Tinea saginata is man. Intermediate host for Tinea solium is option A, cattle, option B, man, and option C, pig. Correct answer is option C, pig. Intermediate host for Tinea solium is pig. Intermediate host for Tinea saginata is option A, pig, option B, cattle, and option C, man. Correct answer is option B, cattle. So, intermediate host for Tinea saginata is cattle. What is incubation period for adult tapeworm? Option A, 8 to 14 days. Option B, 8 to 14 weeks. And option C, 8 to 14 months. Correct answer is option B, 8 to 14 weeks. Drug of choice for treatment of cysticercosis is option A, mebendazole, option B, albendazole, and option C, mepacrin. Correct answer is option B, albendazole. So, albendazole is a drug of choice for treatment of cysticercosis. I hope this lecture will prove fruitful to you. Thanks for watching.